my phone on time.
All right. Nice. Impromptu.
It's the best.
Getting in.
I mean, this is what I like to do. Okay, am I recording? Because I'm talking shit. Okay. On camera. This is what I like to do when it comes to creativity, because it's like the interaction you have with someone literally fuels whatever project, conversation, body of work. And so when you vibe with somebody and you naturally go into something, or you hang around someone enough to vibe with them and then set an intention, then it's better. Sometimes people like to force this right now energy on creation. And to me, that ain't where it's at. Because when you fuck with somebody, and I mean you can meet them fucking 20 minutes ago or 2 years ago, it's just let energy speak. And because sexual energy is creative energy, and usually a motherfucker that ain't good at sex ain't good with just letting energy be what it is and let it flow.
Wow. Hold up. I like what's happening. You had mentioned something that reminded me of genuine inspiration, which is essentially you're inspired by the thing that's right in front of you.
Yeah.
Or you're tired, you get locked into it, and it's a thing. It's a very reciprocal thing for you.
It has to be, or it don't make sense.
With saying that, in what ways do you commonly find yourself in this genuinely inspired moments?
I think when authenticity can exist or coexist with another person, yo cool and my cool, vibe, or your power and my power align, and that's when the match happens. So I feel when I be on the same vibration as someone, or frequency, I call it frequency, freak, F-R-E-A-K.
Oh.
Frequency. I have a coaching thing about how to cultivate frequency. That's another story. But when the frequency is aligned, and the options are, then the 1 + 1 = 3, which is an abundant connection. I feel like I told you earlier, my relationships have been my source of abundance. And so to me, it's about frequency.
Let your freak flag fly.
I need to create a freak flag.
There you go. I love that song. Have you heard that song? We have to play that song. I think you would definitely dig it. Man, I think there's so many questions I want to ask you. I suppose simply, where did you first start finding your involvement in sex being paramount to your life? When did you find it to be a purpose versus?
Well, I was that kid that was always sneaking to watch some whatever sex positive show on TV.
You snuck to watch sex positive shows.
Or maybe I identify them as that because I was getting a positive perspective, but I didn't have enough education to really know what I was looking at. I was younger. MTV had, what's the name of that show? I can't think of any of the names. HBO, I remember the BT After Dark too, and just different stuff like that. So I was that kid. I also was into not Playboy per se, but I love seeing women in erotic garb or in erotic embodying erotic energy. So that's where I start. That's when me being inquisitive and stuff. But then I don't know, I guess maybe. Well, also, in high school, I was that person that would wear shirts that say, I'll try anything once or twice if I like it. That was me. Shit. But I didn't have sex till after high school, which was, interesting. Not because I didn't want to, just because I'm also, it's the energy. It's
But did that end up being your first relationship, or was it just sex?
My first relationship sexually was with somebody I dated in high school.
Gotcha.
And that happened right after high school. Yeah, but I don't know. I feel the purpose of it all came when I left Michigan. That's where I'm from originally, and I moved to Chicago, and that's where my family is from. Like my mom was, well, all my mom, my uncles, and all they was all born there. My grandma, my grandpa, they was the couple that was throwing parties. Like not necessarily play parties. Who knows? I don't know. I haven't. No one has explained that to me or said that explicitly, but like they were the like couple that was always throwing like parties that people would go to. That's what they was known for. So definitely have that juice from them. But yeah, after when I moved to Chicago in 2009, I was working at Planned Parenthood in my hometown before I moved to Chicago. So I already had that like, and I kind of was already into like women gender studies to some degree. And then I went to Roosevelt, and my major was international studies, but I focused on race, rights, gender, and activism. And so that was already in line. And then after like with that took me to like some more international travel where I was an independent study and I was studying sexuality and all these things around the world, mostly in Asia, parts of Africa. And then I went to London, but I didn't study any of that in London. And then that's when I created my ABCs framework, which for me is art, beauty, and culture. All these pillars, if you want to call it, impacts a person's quality of life and how they interact sexually. How do I want to say it? Sociosexually. Yeah, like how like they're socialized and how that impacts like attraction. What I mean by like sociosexually attraction. How people perceive gender, how they see their own, how they see other people's, binary exist, like how do they like live within or without the binary, frequency, like these are all these things that I'm talking about within this like the sociosexual. And so for me that's a lot of root and sacral work on the energy level, right? Like, and then I started to I went to school and I dropped out, and then I dropped out because one of my mentors like encouraged me to do this workshop at the Museum of Contemporary Art in Chicago. So I did, that was my first like large public thing that I did. And I did a tantric workshop, and I had an African drummer talk about drums and how that impacted courtship between lovers. Yeah, and like what does that look like? In Guinea, particularly, like with when it comes to like courtship and like dating and stuff, like how the drums impacted that. So that's how we started it. We had a drummer come and then they talked about that, and then I facilitated a tantric workshop, and I had people.
The drums. So
if I can remember, because that was some time ago.
I was just recently talking to a new friend, so glad I re-met her. But she was talking about even how we move when we hear the drums, like, you know, shaking ass is a big sacred thing, just because you're moving, you know, what you need to move, and men typically move with their, you know, shoulder. Well, I guess it depends on, you know.
I guess it depends on how a person views their masculinity and like how that cultural conditioning impacts their movement. Because I realize a lot of men, cis straight men particularly, kind of have issues with dancing a lot. I mean, like you see people dancing, but like in my work and in my experience, a lot of men harbor a lot of trauma in their bodies, and movement is hard for them.
That's how I release a whole bunch of if I'm feeling a lot, I will get into it.
That's great, because a lot of people are like, that's why dance movement therapy is so important, because it helps people to release whatever tension or anxiety is stuck in the body.
You know what? Also, if it's something I'm feeling primal, if you will, like I'm trying to move forward in life, I'll be low. I'll be really low. I'm trying to use different types of muscles and, you know, stabilizers and all of that extra stuff. So it's always fascinating, but continue. So after that, you said you went into tantric.
Oh yeah, so I like was teaching a tantric workshops, and I talk about like different ways to do solo tantra. So I came from a perspective of like, once you can do like have a mindful practice on your own, then you can share that with someone else. And so that might look like where you're talking about dancing, movement, being intentional with the breath, meditating on a desire, using your imagination. All of these different things are connected to tantra. How you like the aftercare you give yourself after partnered sex or group sex, or however you, or even if you're asexual, like how you feed and how you allow your energy to refuel you, kundalini, you know, how that energy system runs from our root to our crown and funnels. These are all like, this is solo tantra, and of course these practices solo can be shared with other people, or platonically, or romantically, or communally. So that's what I was talking about, and teaching like activations and stuff like that.
That's fucking cool.
Yeah.
I do have a question about your family's involvement. Like, to what extent have you explained things to them? What do they feel and think about your work?
So it's like there's a lot of duality, because my mother, I never seen her in a monogamous relationship in my life. She has 6 kids by 4 different men. So I was like, okay, that's great. So I never felt like monogamy was an option, not necessarily a destination.
Mm-hmm.
So I had that experience, and then my dad was incarcerated for a large part of my youth. And he has been honest with me about his experience sexually with men and being locked up. But I had to draw some serious boundaries with him, because he's been sexually inappropriate with me. He has diagnosed with schizophrenia. He's tried to use his mental health issues as a means of like some inappropriate things he said to me. But honestly, like, that's an excuse, and people who have mental health issues are not inherently sexually inappropriate or violent. So I demystify that. Like, not everybody who has mental health issues with everybody is on the spectrum. Not everybody's like being sexually inappropriate or doing shit based on their mental health. It can like, you know, if you have personality disorders and things like that. I'm not saying that it can't impact. It's like if you're a smoker but you like to run, like, of course smoking is going to impact your, but like, it's not going to stop you from running. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's a slippery slope. But I don't think that I'm saying inherently people who have mental health issues are not sexually inappropriate or violent. So when people hear, oh, somebody has a mental health issue and then they've been sexually inappropriate, no, that's not.
This ain't it.
No. So it's a slippery slope complex. But yes, I have boundaries with him. I don't really, like, I'm not as active in his life as I was before. But
what about with your brothers and sisters? Or
I'm the oldest. My youngest sibling is 15. Yeah, my youngest sibling is 15. And yeah, they definitely have come for me being a queer person in a way that's not cool. But I think over time, me just like being unapologetically who I am, that has definitely stopped a lot. Yeah, my extended family, I'm not out to them. Like, my cousin recently, me and my friend Courtney, who I have a sex positive connection with, like, they do a lot of video, and we have a lot of content we never released, but we have a very trusted relationship. So we went to see my cousin, who I haven't seen in so long, and like we were just talking about like what life, stuff like that, and like I decided not to like be as vanilla. Sometimes I can be like, I have a vanilla persona to people who I don't feel like have the capacity to hold the breadth of my work, or maybe are too ignorant to like have a conversation about it. Mm-hmm. But I was just like open, whatever, and saying what I need to say. Like, I mean, I didn't disclose a whole bunch of shit, but I was just being myself. It was cool, but we'll see how cool it is when I talk to other family members. You know, family be talking, so we'll see. Maybe he didn't say nothing. Maybe he did. Yeah. So
I'm so very fascinated. I do have a question about you and I. Mm-hmm. Did you know about my work beforehand, or we met?
I knew of your work, yes.
You know about my work,
but I didn't know. Like, I knew your work as far as me knowing people that you had photographed.
Got you. So
like seeing their photos. So I was like, oh, this is beautiful.
That makes sense. That makes so much sense. Okay, so from our first interaction, what was your initial thoughts, feelings?
I probably projected a lot because you said you're from North Carolina, so I was like, oh, this person is great. Like, I don't know. Like, I didn't care after that. I was like, okay,
that work. That works. Hey, you from where I'm from? You understand?
Yeah, like we have that connection. So I was like, oh, that's cool. But I'm always open to like getting to know people, and like I liked that I could tell how mischievous you were right away. Mm-hmm. And that you had like you were around a close friend, and like, you know, the energies that I perceive as genuine. You know, genuine is a relative concept these days, but like I was like, oh, this is genuine energy. You had no shoes on. It was cold as hell. So I was like,
I'm talking about Ashley outside. Y'all heard.
So I was like, okay, this person is down to earth. I vibe with that. That was it for me. And I was like, you know, also I have a shadow side like everybody else. So I always be like, is my shadow side complementary with theirs? Because that's when it starts to get, when you like build new relationships or ongoing ones. It's like, do our shadow sides complementary? Because sometimes it should be like, oh.
It is. I don't know if you remember one of the first things I said to you. It was my recount. It was my recount.
He might move that thing.
He might move it?
Yeah, for playing with this. I don't know what this is. Come here.
But yeah, it was a recount of my my telling my mutual friend, oh yeah, she look like she beat niggas.
Oh, wait, so you said that? Wait.
No, when I had met you, I was like, oh. When I like, that's one of the things I initially said. I was like, I'm with it. I'm with all of it.
Oh, you mean like in person?
In person.
Oh, I gave off the energy like I beat niggas?
You know, like it was first when she had showed me.
Okay.
Even when she said the name, I was like, oh yeah.
Did she say Coco Meow or Koreana?
Nah, she said Coco Meow.
Okay.
She's talking to beat niggas. Let me see.